Awesome. Um, so first of all, congratulations, of course, on
Thank you.
you getting, I mean, it's probably one of the hottest shows that came out, I think, last year, which was it really is one of my favorite, but um it took off. It's huge, it's massive. And I know that's probably what your first real experience with yeah, getting
Yeah.
a big show like that, right? So what's
Yes.
that been like? Just sort of what's that entire experience, just getting more settled into the role and everything, like what's it been like for you, that experience?
Honestly, it's been like a whirlwind. I mean, starting the pilot in 2023, I believe, and then, waiting a whole year because of the strike and everything to start filming the first episode, the first season, and then getting the news about season two. It's honestly just been so crazy, and seeing how the fans are reacting to everything is kind of overwhelming at times, but also exciting. And then, when we were filming season two and leading up to the premiere date, kind of just hoping that, season two went as well as season one and hopefully even better. And then, looking at all the comments and seeing all the fans' reactions to our first two episodes, and it's just been really incredible. And I'm very, very grateful.
So Ava's arc this season, of course, is just more of her sort of grappling with the fact that her father left them and trying to understand sort of the reasoning behind that and all of that. So can you talk a bit about like her emotional state this season and what we can anticipate from her?
Yeah, I mean, in the first two episodes, we figure out that my dad's been hiding out in Nevada. And I think for Ava, she's confused. She's in a state of confusion. She's like, my dad is this close to me. He's been this close to me for this long, and he doesn't, want to come back. He doesn't want to get to know me. He doesn't want to have a relationship with me. And so I think that's kind of what's leading her emotion. She's very emotionally, I feel like these few episodes, and yeah, she's making irrational decisions based off of emotion, which I think is understandable given what she's going through and kind of what the information she's being told.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of, I think I did get to see the third episode. So Morgan updates, yeah, updates her about the whole Arthur Ellis not being Roman thing. And of course, she initially it seemed like she kind of took it all in and then she kind of acted out a little bit after that.
Yeah.
Um, so do you think for her, is it better knowing more information or just um, finding out things as when they finally get a better lead, I think, on Roman? Should they just kind of hold off on giving her that info?
I think for her, she wants to know so badly, but I don't think she knows how to react once she knows the
Mhm.
information. So I think it's a weird thing of like her mom and her should have this kind of relationship where they can trust each other. And as Morgan gives Ava information, Ava should be able to kind of talk to Morgan about how she feels um, about the information she's being given instead of going off and acting out and getting arrested and all these crazy things.
I love that scene though because I'm like it's like mother like daughter because
Yeah.
um I'm always fascinated with Ava because I think she has a difficult time, of course, just almost feeling like outcasted in her own family. So would you say that probably what drives her most with wanting to connect with Roman is just so she can kind of have her person too? Because I know with Morgan and Elliot, it's like they're very similar and
Yeah, I feel like it hurts her a lot to kind of see how, Elliot has the intelligence that their mom has. And so she's kind of like, well, I don't know like who I'm like in this family. And, she always says that like she has her mom's like worst traits, you know what I'm saying? And she's like, I want to find someone I can kind of cling on to that I am alike and like a parental figure.
yeah. I think what I also like though in this same episode is you can tell that's something that Ava struggles with, but also get to see little glimpses of just how similar she actually is to Morgan.
Yeah.
Like we saw her, like, she, of course, she's fiery and passionate, just like her mother, and protective and all of that too. But even the helping with the investigation, she's very observant. She takes in
Yeah.
things, well, so she has some of that there, and it's interesting to see her struggle with not always um seeing just how she is her mother's daughter too. But I love their dynamic. It's such a great dynamic. So can you talk a bit about like how is it working with Caitlin? You guys have such a great chemistry.
Yeah, she is absolutely incredible. I love working with her. Majority of my scenes are usually with her. So the days that I go in a set, I always know that I'm gonna have at least one scene with her that day. It's always great. Yeah, she's very, very motherly, which makes everything on camera seem supernatural. And we always kind of will talk like in between takes of like if we like how things are written and like if we want to change something to make it kind of feel like a real mother and daughter conversation. She's like, would you actually say this or do you want to change it? Or like she was like, I don't know. She's like, would a 16-year-old, 15-year-old girl actually be saying these things? Like, how can we make it seem more real? And so it's nice because she's very like collaborative in that sense and trying to make the scene feel as natural and as real as possible, which is incredible. And she's also just an amazing actress. So being in a scene across from her is such an incredible learning experience.
I love that though, that you get to have that sort of collaborative experience and just getting some input even. You get to
Yeah,
give input on how your character is shaped, which is that's really cool and very rare because that doesn't always happen. So I think
that's
that's a really cool
it.
it's a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of like the investigations, will we see Ava getting a little bit more involved in stuff? Because I feel like she kind of peeks her head in a little bit here or there. And I also, like you said, you do a lot of your scenes with of course with Morgan, but I'm like, will we get to see her interact a bit more with some of the other cast members? Because it feels more like a family this season, I can already tell with, the Fanatic and everyone coming in a little bit more.
Yeah, I would love for Ava to kind of be poking her head around the police station. I feel like that'd be really fun. I loved the scene in episode 3 where, me and Caitlin were looking at all of her evidence and stuff, and she was kind of telling me about it. I was like, oh, this is cute. And we never really see Ava and Morgan have this kind of interaction. So I think further down the line, having more scenes like that would be a great little, fun little story to have on the side and kind of build that little relationship.
So, kind of following up on that, what would be your ideal storyline for your character if, for the show to explore with Ava? If you could
Oh,
just be anything at all.
I mean, I've always wondered what her school life is like, because we have kind of seen a little bit of how Elliot is with like his friends and how he's kind of kids aren't always the nicest to him because of his high intelligence and his high IQ, just like his mom. And we've kind of seen that in his talent show and everything. I've always kind of wondered what Ava's school life is like because she doesn't seem like the like easiest person to be friends with. I'll say, yeah, so I just wonder how knowing how she feels at home and how she always doesn't feel like she fits in, I wonder how that kind of carries into her school and friend life. So I
Yeah,
feel like
I think
exploring that. Yeah.
that would be interesting. I agree. I've always been a little bit curious about that too, just to balance. Because at home, she does give the typical teenager type, stuff, but also she's very uh, I'm an eldest daughter, eldest sister. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I very much get the sense of her like being, they always make the joke about being the family manager. And like,
Yeah.
so Eva definitely has that sort of role at home, which is really interesting. So I agree. I would love to see what she's like in a more social environment with the rest of her friends and people her own age.
Yeah.
So what are some exciting things that you can maybe tease for us? Is there anything in particular that you're excited for the viewers to see?
I'm excited for the viewers to see some upcoming scenes that I have with a new cast member who joined the season. yeah, I'm excited for yeah, for the fans to kind of see that new dynamic and how it plays into finding Ava's dad and that storyline. It's very
Yeah.
exciting.
I mean, you guys luck up with some really great guest stars, like so
Yeah.
just really star-studded, like great guest stars. I'm like every time someone pops up, I'm like, ooh. So do you like fangirl a lot every time you see someone like walking around set?
I had a fangirl moment. It was when we were filming the talent show scenes from episode 2, and Mekhi Phifer was there as well. And I didn't know he was like gonna be in the show. I had no idea. And so I was in the hair and makeup trailer, and they're like, "Do you know who's coming to set today?" And I was like, no. And they were like, "It's Mekhi Phifer, like he's playing Arthur." And I was freaking out. 8 Mile, the movie, is one of my favorite movies, so I was literally freaking out. And then he walked into like the little like cast holding room. He was like, "Hi, like I'm a guy," and I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "Okay." Yeah.
Yeah. I probably would have been the same. I love 8 Mile too. So I would have, as soon as I said, I'm like, oh my God, that's such a great casting choice. And then of course I'm like, I love James Rodriguez. So knowing that he was directing, I was like, I loved him and watching A Million Little Things for years. I covered that. So I'm like, God, you guys have such a stacked cast. And then of course
Oh,
David
incredible.
Junta, yeah, playing the game maker. I'm like, oh my God. So every episode I feel like I'm like, ooh, very
Yeah.
excited. So I'm glad to see that you guys have your fangirl moments too.
I do, yeah.
And here's a fun one for you. If your show could cross over with any other show, what would it be? What would you choose?
Well, I've been seeing all this stuff about crossing over with 911, and I think
Oh,
that'd be pretty fun. Yeah, I love that show. I watch it. My family loves the show too, and Angela Bassett's incredible. So I feel like doing a crossover would be fun. I kind of saw what Jennifer Love Hewitt said about, like maybe getting a Morgan crossover kind of thing. So I feel like that'd be really, really cool.
I know, same network. I could see that working. That would be a
Yeah.
very interesting collaboration. I'd love to see Ava in the firehouse because
Right? Maybe
yeah,
she can go train for the day and see how she see how she does.
yes, that would be really fun. Is there anything else that you have that you could share with us before we sign off?
I just am excited for everyone to see the rest of the season. I'm very thankful for all the love that we've been receiving and that everyone's still loving it and still watching it after our first season. And I just hope that everyone continues to watch and continues to love it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.